Good afternoon. This is Lindsay Day with Metropolitan State University of Denver, and I'm proud to introduce Amy Cohen, founder of Cohen Career Consulting. Amy is going to talk with us today about how to step up and stand out at the career fair, and we'll specifically be talking about how to prep for the 2013 All Colorado Alumni Career Fair. So without further ado, Amy, I will pass it over to you.
Hello, thank you very much, Lindsay, and welcome everyone. First of all, I want to say congratulations for taking an enormous step in making this career fair even more successful for you. So we are going to talk about exactly how to step up and stand out at a career fair. So let's get started. The first thing to think about with a career fair is what exactly is a career fair? A career fair in a lot of people's minds means different things to different people. So let's get really clear. A career fair is nothing more than an opportunity. And why is there an empty desk on the screen right in front of you? The reason why there is because the way I started my career was by having an opportunity. But my opportunity actually did look like an empty desk. About 20 years ago, when I started out in this industry, the reason why I did is because I literally could not find a job. And it was one failure after another. I was a struggling, starving job seeker, and I can imagine many of you might be nodding your heads at the moment. It is a frustrating process. It is difficult, it is challenging, and it is designed to be that way. But I was not very successful as a job seeker until I started working with a national sales recruiter early on, because I thought, this is brilliant. What a great strategy, because there are people in this world whose job it is to help you find a job. So I started working with the recruiter, and it was not any more successful, believe it or not. It was still one failure after another. One offer would slip through my fingers after the other, and it was very discouraging. And one day I walked into the recruiter's office and I recognized an opportunity. I saw an empty desk in front of me. And keep in mind, it was not as pretty as this empty desk right there. It actually had, I think it was just a plank of wood with on top of some file cabinets. But it was the most beautiful thing in the world for me because it was an opportunity. And I asked the recruiter to give me a chance. And he thought about it for a while, and I don't know if he actually saw potential in me or felt pity for me at that point, but he actually said yes. And so my opportunity turned out to be the start of my passion, my career path, my professional life. And as I always say, I wasn't born a career coach, but I was born to be a career coach. And that's what I've been doing for the last 20 years. So sometimes opportunities show up in different forms, on different days, in different ways that you may never have thought of. It can be an empty desk, or it could be a career fair. So keep that in mind when you're getting ready for the All Colorado Alumni Career Fair. This could be your empty desk. So what's the first thing you need to think about bringing with you to the career fair? And it's not resumes, it's not business cards, it's not a power suit. You might be surprised to know that it is a positive attitude. If you believe you can, or if you believe you can't, you're right, according to Henry Ford. And I fully agree. The number one thing that you need to think about, plan for, gather, concentrate, focus on, is that positive attitude. So regardless of how your job search is going, regardless of where you are in your career path, regardless of whether or not that's where you want to be or it's where you didn't think you would wind up, it doesn't matter. Leave all of that in the car. Bring nothing with you except a positive, energetic attitude as you start the career fair. So what else do you need along those lines? So now you've got a positive attitude. You're focusing, you're thinking really positive thoughts. But the other thing that you need to bring with you is your lead talent, your greatest strength. What is it that you do better than anyone else? Because according to Alan Weiss, if you don't beat your own drum, there won't be any music. So keep in mind, a career fair is a great opportunity, not only to meet people and to gather information from various companies and those sorts of things, it is also a tremendous opportunity to promote yourself, because there is nobody at that career fair that is going to do it for you other than you. So just a quick exercise to think about. It is called a shout out. So the instructions are right there in the title, but think about completing this sentence. There is no one in the world better at blank than I am. Just think about what that would be. Is it project? What do you do better than anyone else? And you have to lead with that skill set. You have to lead with that confidence. You have to have complete ownership, knowing that there is no one in the world that is better at that one skill or quality than you are. The other thing to keep in mind is that a career fair is all about getting to know people, because that's who's there. People are there. And keep in mind that people hire people that they like. They really do. So one of the things that I always encourage my clients to do is make sure to remember, do not leave your personality in the car. Bring it with you. You are trying to make a connection. You are trying to meet people. You're trying to make a positive, lasting impression so people remember you, want to talk to you, and then ultimately hire you. So the example that I'm going to use to illustrate this is way back in elementary school. It is gym class in elementary school, and it's dodgeball day. And you are the team captain. Think about the first person that you would select for your dodgeball team. The first person for most people would be their best friend, right? It is the person that you like the most. It is the person that you rely on, the person that you trust, the person that is not going to leave you stranded in that critical dodgeball overtime. It is that person that will take a dodgeball to the face for you coming down the stretch. That is the person that you want by your side. And then the next person that most people select is the most athletic. It is the person that will help you win. And it is no different today in the hiring process as it was back during dodgeball. People genuinely want to work with people that they like, people that make them feel good, people that support them, people that make them laugh and that they enjoy going to meetings with, traveling with, working on projects with, side by side in that type of environment. Then the next sort of screening process, how they're going to evaluate you, is then your skill set. Will you help them win? Can you bring something that you can contribute to the organization, to that department, to that hiring manager that's really going to make a difference and elevate them to the next level? So the lessons that we learned in dodgeball are still true today. And it's a great reminder walking into these career fairs, because you want to think about what to lead with. Lead with that personality, lead with that understanding that you're trying to make a connection with people. You want people to like you. The more they like you, the more they can help you, and then the more they can hire you. So, what else is true about a career fair? First, let's visit the success rate and the statistics that are involved in a job search overall. Networking is the most successful job search strategy. It has always been true. It will always be true. It has a 75 to 80% success rate, 90% if you're an executive. Nothing else comes close. And the reason why the bunny slippers are on the screen is because you cannot find a job in your pajamas. You can't. It doesn't happen. You still need to meet with people in person, because let's visit the other end of this statistic spectrum and understand that an internet job search is the least successful job search strategy. It yields only a 4 to 6% success rate, and I'm being generous. So for all those people that are wondering why they're not having great success with their job searches, I would really look at how much time are you spending behind a computer screen versus in front of the critical hiring managers that you need to meet. That is the biggest difference. So the good news is that a career fair is nothing more than a networking opportunity. This is where you do get to be face to face with those decision makers, with those hiring managers. This is the opportunity to get out of those bunny slippers, out of those tired old pajamas, get dressed, get out, and get the job of your dreams. So for a lot of people, networking comes easy. But truthfully, for many and more people, networking is a learned skill. And unfortunately, not many people actually learn how to do it. So let's talk about how to successfully network, whether it is at a career fair or at any other sort of networking event. First thing you need to think about is to set realistic goals and expectations. Don't tell yourself that you are going to meet 400 people at the career fair or at a networking event, because it's unrealistic. It's not going to happen. Also, to adjust your expectations. As we talked about at the beginning, the career fair is an opportunity. Don't expect to walk into the career fair and walk out with a job offer. I'm not saying it's impossible. It is just extremely unlikely that that's going to happen. So adjust your expectations accordingly. Be much more realistic. The other thing that's important is by setting realistic goals and expectations, it also gives you a way to measure the success that you've had at this career fair or networking event. If you tell yourself that you want to meet 10 quality hiring managers and introduce yourself to 10 quality companies, then when you walk out of that career fair, you actually get to measure how you performed against that number. Did you meet 10? Did you meet 12? Did you meet 8? Okay, then there's a little room for improvement next time. Measure this as you would any other sort of process, and you'll have much greater results. Next one, as I just talked about, focus on quality connections, not quantity. Again, even if you do meet 400 people at the career fair, those are not quality connections. There's no way that you can keep track or follow up with or get into any sort of in-depth conversation with 400 people. It is all about quality, not only at a career fair, but throughout your job search and your career. Next one, practice your elevator pitch. And my advice is you want to practice it at home before you even get to the career fair. Know what you want to say. Know what you want to lead with. And we're actually going to talk about how to formulate a really effective elevator pitch in a moment. Also, too, remember you're not there to sell, but to develop relationships. Self-promotion is about, yes, you're talking about yourself, you're promoting yourself, but that's much different than overselling yourself. Nobody likes to be sold. They want to create relationships. They want to have a natural kind of connection, but they don't want to be sold. They don't want to be sold a product or service or yourself. Next one, be an active listener. Ask a lot of interesting questions. You're there to gather information, especially at a career fair. And the more you learn, the more information you gather, the more people that you're introduced to, the better your results will be at the end. And people also like to talk about themselves. So asking interesting questions is a great way to make that lasting positive impression. There is a saying that it is better to be interested than interesting. Be interested in what other people are doing. And that's not just the hiring managers that are behind the tables. Those are all of the other people that are milling about at the career fair. Find out what they do. You never know where those connections are going to be found. Again, it is an open and abundant opportunity in front of you. Give referrals and be a resource. So while you are meeting people, if an opportunity or if a conversation is not right for you, why not make an introduction to somebody else? Why not be a referral and a resource? Be that go-to person that people remember as somebody who is supportive and helpful and will actually do for others. One of the biggest mistakes that people can make at a career fair especially is that it is all about me. Me, 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 me. One of the ways to separate yourself and to step up and stand out at a career fair is to think of others. And the best way to do that is by giving referrals, being a resource, and providing information. The next one, even if it's a party, you're still working. That means even if it is a career fair barbecue, it doesn't matter. You are still working that career fair as you would if it was taking place in a hotel conference room. Remember, it is an opportunity. You want to present your best professional self at all times. There is plenty of time in your private life to party and to celebrate, but treat the career fair with the respect that it deserves, especially if you want to get the results that you want. And again, measure your efforts and results. So the goals that you set for yourself in the beginning, measure them at the end. How well did you do? Where's some room for improvement? What can you work on better next time? Where were those elements where you actually surprised yourself and did extremely well? And then the last one, follow up, follow up, follow up. Because again, going back to those expectations, very little as far as a job offer is going to happen at the career fair. Everything, all of the magic happens in the follow-up. And we're going to talk about how to do that because the critical steps after the career fair, that's really what can make a difference. So these are just some great tips and tools to think about as far as mastering the art of networking, whether it is a career fair or any other event. The more prepared you'll be, the more prepared you are, the more successful you'll be. So let's go back to that really critical part of networking, which is the elevator pitch. And I know it's not everybody's favorite. I mean, let's just be honest, but you do need to have one. So first, let's talk about what an elevator pitch is. An elevator pitch is literally that visual of you in the elevator with the hiring manager of your dream job. What are you going to say to that individual by the time you reach the lobby that is going to entice that person to, at the very least, continue the conversation or possibly make you an offer? What are you going to say? You've got to choose your words carefully because you only have a matter of seconds. And this is probably the biggest sort of hurdle or obstacle that job seekers face, is because very rarely does anybody sort of take a class or a course or learn how to develop an elevator pitch. So let's figure out, let's crack the code of what an effective elevator pitch is. The first step is who you are. And that is literally your name, first and last name. And the reason why this is really important is because, as you can imagine, people get really excited, really anxious to launch into their pitch. And the first thing they forget to mention is their name. It is also extremely helpful to get used to incorporating that as part of your practice, because you want to always be reintroducing yourself when you're meeting people for the second, third, and fourth time. Don't ever assume somebody remembers your name. And if the only thing they do remember about you after the pitch is your name, then that's a successful pitch. So the first step, who you are, first and last name. Second step is what you do. This is your area of expertise, your profession, your job title, your industry, what you do to give somebody an idea, sort of a context of what you do. The third step is why you do it better than anyone else. And this goes back to the shout out. This goes back to identifying your strength, really understanding your professional brand, how you're wired, what makes you tick, and why you do it better than anyone else. What is the passion that you bring to what you do that's really going to elevate you above your competition? And then the last piece is probably the piece of the puzzle that most people either forget to mention or have not fully developed as far as their elevator pitch, and that is the value proposition. Now, this is where you literally get to bottom line for the person that you're talking to, what you do and why you do it better than anyone else, how that is going to bring value to that person or to that organization that you're talking to. So the value proposition is such a critical component to this entire not only elevator pitch, but the entire idea of self-promotion, that it's actually worthy of more discussion in detail. So let's talk about a value proposition. First thing is you need to know your value. So a value proposition is really a way to demonstrate how you can positively affect and impact that organization's bottom line. Keep in mind, companies want to know one of two things and hopefully both. Can you make them money or can you save them money? You've got to be able to satisfy that question of why would it make good business sense to hire you? Because the personality is great, all of those things are clicking, but it still does come down to a business decision. How are you going to make this business more profitable? How are you going to save them money? And people ask me all the time, well, how do I quantify? How do I know what value I bring to an organization? My response is always every single profession, every single job, every single position out there has the ability to demonstrate value. You can increase revenue, you can reduce costs, you can increase savings, you can reduce turnover, increase retention, increase your clientele, you can streamline processes, implement time-saving initiatives. There are all sorts of ways to think about and to demonstrate value that you can bring. And also keep in mind, the greatest indicator of future success and future value is past success, past value. So really take a look at and examine what you have done in your previous positions. It may be the first time that you've thought about it in this way. If you don't have dollar signs, if you don't have percentage signs, numbers on your resume, then that would be a great place to start. Then the next thing is to start incorporating that information into your verbal presentation, into your elevator pitch, into your interviewing. But knowing your value is a critical step, mainly because you cannot wait for anybody to ask you the perfect question. I promise you, very rarely, not only are they not going to ask you for your elevator pitch, they're also not going to ask you for your value proposition. You need to know what you want to say ahead of time and then figure out a way to incorporate that into your conversation in a way that is going to resonate with the listener, in a way that is going to be memorable, in a way that they're going to get excited about and want to continue the conversation. Because that's the goal, how to optimize that opportunity and turn it into an offer. So these are all ways to think about how to prepare even before you get to the career fair. So the other thing is, as far as preparation, is to start packing your toolkit and supplies. This is your readiness prepared kit. Think of this like it would be like an emergency technician or an EMT getting into the ambulance without their necessary tools. How are you going to save a life? This is how critical you need to think about this career fair. What critical tools and supplies do you need in order to be successful? So, first thing to think about, and most career fairs out there, especially today, will offer up a list of participating companies that will be participating in the career fair that you can look at and research even before you get there. So Lindsay right now is actually going to talk a little bit about, specifically for the All Colorado Career Fair, how exactly to go about researching these participating companies. Lindsay?
So I'm going to talk a little bit about how you can better research what employers are going to be at the fair. And one thing I wanted to clarify before I get started is, I introduced myself, I'm from Metro, but I'm going to show you a website that's from CU. So it's important to remember that this is a combined fair. All of the colleges in the area do collaborate to put this on. So when I show you this site, if you're not a CU grad or you're not a Metro grad, don't worry, this is for anyone who's graduated from a Colorado school. So bear with me one second. I'm going to stop this screen share and take you into CU's website really quickly. Okay, so now you should all be seeing my screen. And what I did, I literally just Googled 2013 Colorado Alumni Career Fair. And you can see it took me to Career Services site for the University of Colorado. And this has both information on the date, time, and location for the career fair. So this year, this is 2013, it's on June 25th from 2 to 5 in the Marriott Denver Tech Center. Same location as last year if you attended last year. Now there's two links down here I want to show you. The first says 2012 All Colorado Alumni Career Fair Guide. If you click on this will give you a list of all the participating employers from last year and what positions that they had available. Now that's from last year, but you can still get an idea if an employer is there 2 years in a row, what types of positions they were recruiting for. But that will be updated closer to the 2013 fair. For now, click on this organizations attending the 2013 fair, and we can get a list of everyone who's signed up so far. Now, I'm going to emphasize that so far part because we have people signing up to the day before until we sell out, and we have sold out every year that we have done this fair. So I do encourage you to continue to check this listing, this website, every week until the fair. Now, the other thing to remember is don't judge a book by its cover. So as you're looking at the names here, like I might see Denver Water Department, and I might think, well, I have no interest in being, a water scientist or a water analyst. I don't really have an interest in working with water, but that doesn't mean that department or that company doesn't have a need for an accountant or an HR professional. So go through, see if you can see who's going to be there, maybe check out their websites and see what types of positions they're posting for. But don't look at it quite so narrowly in terms of if it doesn't have my target industry in the title, then I'm not going to look for opportunities there. So hopefully that will help you out when you're preparing for the fair. And we should be all set.
Okay, thank you so much, Lindsay, for that information. And as you can see, there is an abundance of companies that are going to be participating in this All Colorado Alumni Career Fair. And from last year, this year, and again, as Lindsay mentioned, the list is going to be growing week after week after week as it gets closer to the career fair. So you really want to keep your eye on it. And this is where it starts getting exciting because you're getting the list of participating companies. So as far as preparation and what other things you want to have in your toolkit, your supplies, you want to start putting together your portfolio if that's appropriate for your profession. If you need any sort of additional visuals, if you were in the graphics department, because as Lindsay mentioned, just because Denver Water, for instance, deals with water, they may also have a position for a web designer. So if that is something that is in your skill set, in your profession, then a portfolio would make sense. In addition, obviously, you want to bring multiple copies of your resume. And what do multiple copies look at? I would always say at least 10 to 20, if not more, depending on the number of companies that you're excited about. And then some extra ones for the people that you meet who are attending the career fair. The other thing to think about putting in your toolkit are transition business cards. Now, I probably get more questions about transition business cards than anything else, surprisingly. So what is a transition business card? Everybody's familiar with sort of traditional business cards that you get when you work for an employer. It has your name and contact information and employer stated on the business card. And it is a very customary way to exchange information with other people when you meet. A transition business card serves exactly the same purpose. The only thing that's missing from it is an employer. So if you are in transition, I always suggest having business cards with you at all times, not only at a career fair. And what should be on the business card? It should have your name, your contact information, meaning phone number, email address, LinkedIn profile or address, and then either a specific job title, if you are thinking of staying in the same profession, or several examples. Let's say, for instance, you come from a marketing background, but you can have on there sales, marketing, and public relations if you've sort of performed responsibilities in all three of those areas. It is a great way, again, to exchange contact information with people that you're meeting, and also too, it gives them a great idea of sort of who you are, what you're about, what you could potentially be looking for. And also too, it is a great way to make sure that you have that contact information with you, because it's much easier to carry transition business cards with you than to always be carrying around resumes in your pocket. So if you haven't already, I highly recommend transition business cards. I think you can get, $250 for $10 from Vistaprint or many other online providers, and it is super simple to do. So definitely look into it, and you have plenty of time to check that off your list for the next career fair or networking event. Always bring a pen and pencil with you. I know it sounds a little old school, but you will want to take notes. You will want to jot down reminders about what your plans are, what your follow-up plans are, people that you meet, writing down your phone number, all sorts of things. And paper to write on is really critical. And part of this is because you think you're going to remember the people that you meet, the conversations that you have, the next steps that you establish. But I promise you, by the time you get to your car after that career fair, everything is going to be a blur. You want to take very careful, meticulous notes while you're there, and that is really going to help facilitate those critical next steps. And also to remember, breath mints, it's not a joke. You're going to be doing a lot of talking, very close quarters, and you certainly want to get rave reviews about something as simple as your breath versus the alternative. So I say a few Altoids in your pocket never hurts. In fact, it's a really, really good thing. So now you have your toolkit packed. You have all of your supplies, you know what you're bringing, you've got your checklist, you've checked it twice. Now the next step is you've got to plan your route. So as we've talked about, you have already researched the fair before you're attending. You know the companies that are going to be there. You know the location. You know the time. You have all the logistics that you need. Next thing is you want to start identifying the target companies. So as Lindsay demonstrated to you, there is a plethora and a wide range of companies that are going to be attending this All Colorado Career Fair. And again, going back to the idea that it really is about quality, not quantity. You can absolutely visit every single booth, but it's really important to start identifying some target companies. And a target company is nothing more than a company that you want to work for, a company that you're interested in, a company that has gotten rave reviews about their performance excellence. They've gotten awards. They have a really healthy culture. It is the size of the company that's important to you. It's mid-size, or if you are a large company type of person. There are all kinds of ways to narrow down your list of target companies. And it's a great way to streamline your search. It is a great way to start thinking about your connection to these companies, because anytime you can align yourself with an organization as far as their mission statement, their values, what they stand for, the products that they sell, the services that they provide, it's going to lead to much greater success. So after identifying some of those target companies, that additional background check on their website and job board is really helpful. Trying to gain as much information and intel as you can ahead of time. So by going on their website, it's a great way to start familiarizing yourself with what sort of buzzwords, jargon is that company uses, both specifically to that organization and within that industry. You know, check out their mission statement. Check out some of the profiles of some of their key employees. Also, too, if they have a way to acknowledge their accomplishments. That kind of research is really helpful in preparing your presentation for the career fair. And then also go on their job board. What sort of positions are they looking for? Is there anything specifically that speaks to you? I mean, that would be a great way, a great conversation starter at the career fair. And anytime you can base it in research, that's going to be a much more memorable conversation. Rather than walking up to somebody and say, hey, what sort of jobs have you got? Know what sort of jobs that they've got ahead of time. And then talk about it from a completely different and more advantageous standpoint. Next one, start preparing some targeted questions based on the information that you have. Not only targeted questions, but also to some opening remarks. So if a target company that you're very interested in just won a very prestigious award, there is nothing wrong with walking up and saying, congratulations on that award. That's quite an accomplishment. What a great company you work for. You know, I just have a few questions as follow-up, if it would be okay. Think about those targeted, very specific questions. It generates a much more compelling and interesting conversation. Again, versus the, so, are you hiring? What are you hiring for? The more targeted, the more specific your questions are, the greater the answers will be. So once you've got your target companies listed, you've done your research, you've got your questions all laid out, start ranking those companies 1 through 10. What's your number one company? And the number one company would be that one that falls into that dream job category. You are aligned as far as size of the organization, the products that they sell, what they're doing within the community, their mission statement. This is the company you have been dying to get into. That would be your number one, all the way down to number 10. And the reason why this is so important is because when you walk into the career fair, I promise you, the adrenaline is going to be pumping. You are going to be excited. You're going to be nervous. You're going to be anxious. There's going to be a lot of activity and commotion. Resist the temptation and the urge to make a beeline for your number one. Start with your number 10. This way you can start practicing your elevator pitch. You can start working out the kinks in some of those targeted questions. You can start really sort of quieting those butterflies in your stomach, revving up that confidence that you need as you move higher and higher up on your top 10 list. So by the time you get to your number one, you are in the zone. You know what you want to say. You know what's working. You're in a groove. Your confidence is at an all-time high. That is how you set yourself up for a career fair. The other thing to remember, too, is that there's a little bit of a myth about career fairs that you can only approach the table once. That's not true. If there's a target company that you're really interested in, or if there's a company that emerges as a target company that surprised you, there is nothing wrong with hanging back for a little while, making the rounds of the room, and then circling back with your top target companies. Saying hello again, coming back with an additional question, trying to get some more information. Anytime that you can be the last person that hiring manager speaks to at the career fair, oftentimes that is the best impression that you can leave. It shows interest, it shows commitment, it shows tenacity. There are a lot of qualities that actually come through with circling back and having several touch points with those target companies. So that's essentially how you kind of want to plan your route. And it's much easier to do that before you even get to the career fair, understanding that there is room for modification, there's room for adaptation when you get there. It's still pretty malleable, but at least you've got a game plan. You've got a roadmap to help get you started and be more successful. So when we're talking about creating a lasting first impression, not only is that circling back so important, but what are the other things that actually come into play when trying to create that lasting first impression? First of all, power suit. Dress the part. Again, even if it is a career fair barbecue, it doesn't matter. Look the professional part. This is an interview. It doesn't matter what else it's called. It's a conversation, it's a blurb, it's an information session, it is a career fair. It is an interview. And every opportunity should be treated as an interview. You want to look like you already belong with that company. So what is a power suit? Everybody always asks me, what should I wear? What should I wear? Is it the traditional dark suit? And my feeling is that, first of all, yes, you should absolutely look your best professional self. No question about it. And that usually means a suit and tie for men. For women, it doesn't necessarily have to be a matching suit or skirt set, but a jacket is preferable. Gives a much more authoritative and commanding presence when you're at a career fair, and you will be surprised at how a simple power suit can separate you from the rest of your competition, because not everybody takes it as seriously. So a great way to step up and stand out. Another thing about a power suit is my feeling about a power suit is that it is that professional outfit that when you put it on, you literally feel more powerful. It is the suit where you put it on and you know you look good. You feel good. Everything fits perfectly. And it just elevates your confidence to a whole nother level. So my suggestion is to always don't try on your power suit the morning of the career fair, because if it doesn't fit, those little details can throw you off your game. Know what you're going to wear ahead of time. Plan it out. Get your power suit cleaned, ready to go. Next one, when you are meeting people, never underestimate the power of nonverbal communication. I mean, their studies have been done. We verbally communicate. It's less than 10% of all communication. More than 90% of communication actually happens non-verbally. So what does that mean? First thing to think about, eye contact. You want to look that person in the eye as confidently, as comfortably as you possibly can. The next one, a big, welcoming, warm smile. You want that person to feel how happy you are to be there, how happy you are to meet them. This is the happiest day of your life. Again, forgetting about what's going on in the rest of your life, but in that moment, you're all about eye contact, fantastic smile, and then think about your handshake. So if you don't know if you have a firm handshake, try it out even before you get to the career fair. Try it out on a friend. You want to have a firm handshake. A weak handshake has ruined more deals, more impressions than you can ever imagine. It is a terrible impression that you can make. You also don't want to have a bone-crushing handshake because you certainly don't want to bring that hiring manager to his or her knees with that type of handshake. Again, not the kind of impression you want to make. Firm, professional handshake. You also want to make sure that you have a professional resume. And if you don't know if your resume falls into that professional category, have it reviewed. Lindsay and Leah and everybody else at the career services, alumni career services, at all of these Colorado schools will be more than willing to review your resume for you. So take advantage of those services that are available to you and have your resume professionally reviewed. So if you do need to make any tweaks, any adjustments before that career fair, you will have time. Then the last thing is have an action plan ready to go. Because as we talked about before, the deal isn't done. The deal isn't made at the career fair. That is just the first step. That is just the first impression. The rest of it comes with that action plan. And how do you develop an action plan? What is the first thing you need to know? The first thing you need to know is that 75%, I actually think the number is higher, at least 75% of people at a career fair will never, ever, ever follow up. And remembering the idea and adjusting the expectation that there's a really good chance you're not going to walk out with a job offer, everything happens with that follow-up. Your next steps are critical to sealing the deal. Your next steps are critical for turning that opportunity. All of that time, preparation, effort that you put into making this career fair successful is all going to happen in the follow-up. So start developing your action plan ahead of time. Think about what you want to do. You certainly, when you're meeting with those hiring managers at the career fair, initiate the next steps. Tell that person what you want to do. The first thing that I would talk about as far as initiating next steps is exchanging contact information. Whether it's offering your resume or transition business card is perfectly appropriate, but you also want to make sure you get their contact information. Certainly another great way to initiate next steps is to email the resume. So not only do they have the paper version at a career fair, but with all of the shuffling around and with all the commotion at a career fair, sometimes paper gets lost. Initiate the next step. Tell that person that you would be happy to send them an electronic version of your resume as soon as you get home. Also, too, you can initiate the next step by scheduling a follow-up conversation within an appropriate amount of time. For example, you know what, this has been such a fantastic conversation. I know that there are so many other people that want to talk to you. Would it be okay if I followed up with you next week so we could either schedule an additional conversation or maybe even meet for coffee at some point at your convenience? Think about your next steps, and definitely you can initiate those next steps. Another great next step, which should be part of your process, should be part of your repertoire, whether you're meeting hiring managers, other job seekers, building your network, is connecting on LinkedIn. So after the career fair, all of the new people that you have met, your next step should be to send out invitations. And my suggestion is because, again, a career fair can oftentimes be a blur. There's so much activity going on. So when you do send an invitation on LinkedIn to get connected, make sure that you reference where you met that person. It was such a pleasure meeting you at the All Colorado Alumni Career Fair. I was hoping that we could get connected, and hopefully we can get together soon. Something like that. So it jogs their memory about who you are and where you met. Send information. Again, be a referral. So for instance, if you meet somebody at the career fair and their profession is HR and you happen to be in accounting, and you come across an article or you come across somebody within your network that is interested in an HR position, why not send that information? Why not make that referral, make that introduction to somebody else? It's a great way to stay on their radar. It's a great way to stay connected, and it's a fantastic next step. Again, it was a wonderful way to be memorable and to be helpful to somebody. And because there is a lot of truth to the idea that you have to cross paths with somebody 2, 3, maybe 4 times before you are actually on their radar. Again, really reinforcing that follow-up. And always, too, forward an opportunity. So as you are at the career fair, you'll be meeting other job seekers. If you come across an opportunity that's not right for you, but it's right for somebody else that you've recently met, send it along to them. They will thank you, they will remember you, and they will certainly, hopefully, return the favor. I am a big believer in professional karma. So start developing some positive professional karma for yourself. And the follow-up is a great way to do that. So overall, the strategy behind not only this career fair, but all career fairs, all networking events, all job search strategies, and your overall job search process as a whole is to work smarter, not harder. This is where spending time in that preparation phase on the front end is really going to pay off. Because one of the things to remember is that with the job search, the greater your efforts, the greater your results. I mean, this is one of those major life transitions that no one ever really teaches you how to do. You're just supposed to wake up one day and magically know what you're doing. And it's a little harder than that. But the payoff is, the benefit is, again, that the more effort, the more planning, the more preparation that you put in, the greater the outcome. The greater the results, the less time that you will spend doing it. It is always quality over quantity, whether that is the number of target companies that you are pursuing at a career fair, the number of people in your network, the number of actual positions that you are pursuing. There is a lot of truth to the idea that the job search process is a numbers game, but it's a strategic numbers game. It is always quality over quantity. Create an action plan, not only for the career fair, but for your entire job search. The more structured you are, the more organized you are, the more successful you'll be. So going back to the idea of how important it is to set realistic goals, not only for a career fair, but also for your job search. Set realistic daily and weekly goals. How many career fairs are you going to attend? How many networking events? How many jobs are you going to apply for? How many interviews are you going to schedule? How many companies are you going to research? These are all elements of a job search that are important and that can be measured. They need to be well balanced, and you need to have realistic expectations and goals that you set for yourself on a weekly basis. Why is that important? One, it's a great way to get and stay organized, because a job search can be overwhelming. A career fair can be overwhelming. Imagine just walking through those doors and being bombarded with hundreds of people, tons and tons of companies that you saw on that list before. How would you get started? Where would you go? Who would you talk to? And what would you say? That idea of getting organized, staying organized, developing that roadmap, that action plan is all going to pay off. And those same principles apply to your overall job search. The more organized you are, greater the success. And then also, too, don't forget to reward yourself along the way, because there is a myth about job search that this is a time that you should deprive yourself. My feeling is that it's the complete opposite. This is the time that you need to be kind to yourself, that you need to treat yourself as well as possible, because it's not. It's not the funnest thing you've ever done. It's not something that you wake up every day and go, yay, another day of job searching. I can't wait to get started. It is difficult. It is challenging. It causes a lot of people a lot of self-doubt, critical thinking. You second guess yourself. Your confidence is career fair. If you walk out of that career fair and you have met or exceeded your goals, reward yourself. If you're a runner, go for a run. If you're a movie buff, go see a movie. Take your dog for a walk. Do something that you find enjoyable as reward for your efforts. Because as a job seeker, there is nobody else that is going to praise you, celebrate you, and acknowledge you the way that you will yourself. So make sure you put that on your list. And also make sure to celebrate the small successes. So even though a great day at the All Colorado Alumni Career Fair is only a step in your job search, it is still a success, despite how big or small it is. So if you have a great career fair, celebrate it. If you have a great week, celebrate it. If you send out 10 resumes and you schedule 2 interviews, fantastic celebration. Make sure that you are building that positive momentum, because those small successes, before you know it, are going to turn into big successes. Everyone crosses that ultimate finish line. As I started out by saying, I've been a career coach for 20 years. I have never ever met a permanent, lifelong job seeker. This is a finite process, but you have a lot of control about how finite this process is. You have a lot of control about how you conduct yourself within this process. Sure, there are plenty of things that you don't have control over. Why not focus on what you do have control over? There is an opportunity in front of you with this All Colorado Alumni Career Fair, and that should be your focus. How can you control everything about it? Your presentation, your elevator pitch, what you're bringing, the roadmap, your target companies. It's going to make an enormous difference, and I promise you, before you know it, everybody is going to be celebrating. Because just like Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz, you have everything that you need. So believe in yourself, celebrate yourself, and before you know it, you're going to be happily employed. So best of luck to everybody, not only with your job search, but at the career fair. And with these simple tools and strategies and skills, it's going to exceed your expectations. So best of luck to everybody. Thank you so much. And enjoy the career fair.
Thank you so much, Amy, and we hope to see you all at the career fair on June 25th. Remember to do your homework ahead of time to hopefully get better results at the career fair. And don't forget to sign up with your specific career center or alumni association, and we will plan on seeing you on the 25th.